wonderful to have Ann back as well today to get to have the chance to say hello to her. Judge Joe Anderson will give us health and happiness today, and here he is, ready to go. Health and happiness and some pictures.
Thank you. We have two hospitalizations to report. Ray Carsey, who was with the South Carolina Special Olympics and who has visited and spoken our club on several occasions, suffered a massive stroke recently. He's in the hospital. Also, a member of our club, Henry Clay, had a bicycle accident about 4 days ago. He made the too sharp a turn on his bicycle, broke the collarbone, broke some ribs, and punctured his lung. So keep both of them in your thoughts and prayers. On the good news front, the Washington Monthly Magazine recently came out with its list of top 10 bang for the buck colleges. And Beth Dendorf is proud to say that our own Columbia College is in that top 10 list. This is Constitution Week, the anniversary of the adoption of the United States Constitution. And Reese Williams has been so kind as to stand at the door there and give everybody a pocket copy. You know, there's a lot of freedoms in that we take for granted all the time. We live in a blessed country with the freedom to speak as we wish, the freedom to worship as we wish, so many protections that other countries would do well to emulate. Of course, it also provides for trial by jury. If you get in trouble with the law, you can ask for a jury trial. That's kind of my ballpark. I was recently trying a case in which the defense lawyer made a pretty common argument. He told the jury, think about it, ladies and gentlemen, my client would really be pretty dumb to think he could get away with this. He would be pretty stupid to think he could pull this off. And in reply, the prosecutor, a very veteran prosecutor, Stacey Haynes, got back up in her reply argument. She says, regarding that argument that nobody would be that stupid to try to pull this off, she said, let me let you in on a little secret. And then she leaned forward for emphasis and she said, we don't catch the smart ones. I see that in my courtroom all the time, and we judges pass around war stories and share transcripts, and every week I get in something. Here's a good one I received recently. It's a case where the defendant was charged with stealing 2 pallets of frozen chickens from the loading dock at Food Lion, and the transcript reads as follows: the court, meaning the judge. This is a case involving theft of more than $1,000 from Food Lion. Sir, are you the defendant? The defendant responds, no, my lawyer does the defendant. I'm the guy who stole the chicken. You can't make this stuff up. There's another one, I have a transcript of a case in Canada where someone was charged with setting fires on national property, national forest lands, charged with arson, and he was brought in for questioning. They set him in a room and they asked him if he'd take a polygraph. He agreed to take a polygraph, so they walked out and set up the polygraph machine, left him in the room by himself. He did not know that there was audio-visual recording going on while he was there in the room by himself. So after they leave, he looks both ways, gets out of his chair, gets down on his knees, raises his arms up and says, dear God, let me get away with it just this one time. Of course, the prosecutor sees the video and we have a trial, and after they want to introduce the video at the trial. And Canada has a law very similar to what we have in this country that says a surreptitiously made videotape or audio tape cannot be used in court, a conversation between 2 people on a tape. So the defense lawyer lays that as the basis for keeping it out. The prosecutor said, not so fast. Read the statute. It says a conversation between 2 people. This was a conversation between a person and God. So the judge had to do what we judges have to do sometimes and interpret the law, and he ruled that God was not a person, the statute didn't apply, and the defendant went off to the big house. I was supposed to do health and happiness on October the 6th of last year, which was, the meeting was postponed or called off, as you know, because of the great flood 2 days earlier. The following Saturday, Carolina was supposed to play LSU here in Columbia. So I had worked up a PowerPoint program regarding the LSU USC football game that I had to postpone. They said, well, just wait till next football season. We didn't know that we'd be back here talking about another great flood in Baton Rouge this year. Tragically, it goes the other way, and we're very proud for what this club and others have done to help the people who suffered down there at Baton Rouge. But what I was going to say a year ago, you'll just bear with me. You know, we have Death Valley, California, and then we got a Death Valley in Clemson, and we have a Death Valley in Baton Rouge. We even have the same mascot. So about 6 years ago, my son and I decided we had enough of the debate about who had Death Valley first, so we issued a challenge to the LSU fans on their fan board to see who could come up with documented proof on the first use of the term Death Valley to describe a football stadium. I got a retired federal judge in Arkansas to agree to look at the evidence and give us a ruling. The requirement was you could not simply come up with a history book. Anybody can write something and say that something occurred in a certain year. The rule was you had to have what historians call a primary source, meaning a newspaper, a game day program, a college yearbook, a letter, something original with a date on it. Before we issued our challenge, we did our due diligence. And my son and I outside the stadium, we went to the Alabama LSU game. We've actually put on some Clemson paraphernalia to really mess with their minds after we got inside the stadium. Anyway, here's what we found. The first printed reference to Death Valley referring to Clemson Stadium, well, first of all, their stadium is not in a valley. It's the topographic map. It's as flat as it can be. The first printed reference was September 1954 in the Greenville, Piedmont. We looked at every printed newspaper in South Carolina. That's the first reference. Bob Bradley's book says it happened in 1948, but that's the first time we could find it. LSU, 1961. 1961, which is coincidentally about the time that Coach Diesel was leaving LSU to go to West Point. And so, my sense was that we would win the battle on the name of the stadium. They would probably win the mascot. They did. They were known as the Fighting Tigers before Clemson was even founded. Came from a Civil War unit called the Fighting Tigers, and they adopted it as their mascot. But here's the interesting thing. Before they were the LSU Fighting Tigers, for the first 10 years of their existence, they were, anybody want to guess? The LSU Pelicans. So we don't play this year, but next year we want the Gamecocks to go down out of Baton Rouge and whip those LSU Pelicans.
All right, while we're talking about floods, we talked a little bit last week about the problems in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we decided that we would make an effort among our members to raise some money to help the folks in Baton Rouge. Jack Sloan is going to get up and talk a little bit about that effort. Jack?
Okay, thank you, President John. President John asked me to take on this effort, try asking people for money. It's not something I'm used to doing, so I'm going to try to work my way through it. I was sitting home this last weekend thinking about putting together a great PowerPoint to really show people in Columbia what flooding looks like. And I thought about it for a few minutes, and I really don't need to tell anybody in Columbia what flooding. I mean, last October we had a 1,000-year flood. Our city was badly damaged. There was at least 11 dams breaking, a number of homes that caused serious damage and serious infrastructure damage also. But we survived, and we're even now working our way back to normalcy. In the aftermath of the disaster, a number of Rotary Clubs across the nation collected funds and sent them to us, and we received $14,000, which we distributed to the various members of the club that had been damaged with the flood. Also, the single largest check we received was a $1,300 check from the New Orleans Rotary Club. Now, my friends, the shoe is on the other foot. Baton Rouge, Louisiana has been devastated by flooding. And just to I pulled out a few numbers just to share with you. A total of 13 people have been killed, and more than 146,000 homes have been damaged and are uninhabitable. This calamity struck quickly and with great ferocity. I mean, in one part, Livingston Parish, which I don't know how many you know about Louisiana, but instead of counties, they call them parish zones. But Livingston Parish had more than 31 inches of rain that fell in 15 hours. This parish is one of the hardest hit, and the official estimate is now that 75% of the homes in this county are a total loss. 75%. This no-name storm dumped more than 3 times as much rain on Louisiana as Hurricane Katrina did. President Obama has declared 20 parishes a major disaster area. Because of the large number of homeowners without flood insurance that were affected, the federal government is of course providing disaster relief aid through the FEMA. And this flood has been called the worst U.S. natural disaster since Hurricane Sandy back in 2012. Recovery, people in Houston well know, is a complicated and long process. It involves hundreds of thousands of people, countless governments and nonprofit agencies, the private sector, and a willingness to embrace big ideas while focused on small details. Now, our board of directors had a meeting, I think it was 2 weeks ago now. We set a goal of raising $2,500 to send to one of the Rotary Clubs in Louisiana that has had the most damage. It looks like we're zeroing in on Livingston Parish because they really seem to have been clobbered. We arrived at this number with simple arithmetic. If we can get each of our members to donate $10, that'll take us to $2,500. Y'all, that's skipping lunch for one day. That's more than every one of us paid for lunch today. We can do this. We need to do this. Our board decided that all the funds from today's CART fund will be sent to go to Louisiana flood relief, and I'm asking everyone to please dig deep into your pockets. And here's my check. We need to raise money for Baton Rouge. Thank you. We're going to have Jason come talk because he was one of the people who was. Well, I'll let him tell his story.
You know, my wife and I dated for about 5 years before we got married, and about another 5 years before we had our son. So we got real used to when y'all get married, when you have a son, when you have your next son, and we thought we were done with that, the next child. We thought we were done with that until the flood happened and we lost our house. And so now about 3 or 4 times a day, what's going on with your house? So we answer that question. So not to steal from Judge Anderson's health and happiness, but we actually signed a contract to build our house on our own lot this morning. So we're very, very excited about that. I want to thank President John for letting me be a part of this. My family and I are blessed beyond what anyone could realize. We lost everything, but we were insured. We were prepared, and we had friends like all of you to help us in bad times. And when everyone asked us to tell us sympathy about losing our house, my response was always, it's just stuff. Everybody was fine, but thanks for asking. And I think everyone in this room knows that's true. What we lost is just stuff. And we're collecting more stuff, and unfortunately in the past year we've collected more stuff. But now I have to move back. So my talk may seem like a bit of a contradiction, but it's very brief. Stuff actually matters. The people in Livingston Parish in Louisiana will feel a lot of pain, and they're going to feel it for a very long time. Just like us, if you had a little bit of damage or if you lost everything, there's pain. There's pain in small doses after the shock wears off. It's that first day of school when the teacher asks for a baby photo of your child, they're gone. There is the time when the contractor rips you off, which I'm sure a lot of people have been through. And it comes from the time you're trying to keep your real life and the life you had together in one piece, and you're paying those bills each month. Like I said, we're extremely lucky, extremely blessed. And we're lucky to have all of you to help us. And if we can make the people of Louisiana and Livingston Parish as lucky as I have been, it would mean a lot. And here's a check from Suzanne and I'd like to donate in. And thank you so much, and as much as you can give would be fantastic.
You make a check to
You make it to the Rotary, correct?
Columbia Rotary Foundation, so it will be tax deductible.
Yeah.
Thank you for all your support.
Mark it for flood relief, so we make sure it goes to the right place.
You got more cash?
Oh, yeah. If you put cash in there, leave it in there. We'll take everything, everything. If you want to dump cash in there, that's fine. Instead of the normal cart fund collection today, whatever cash or checks or anything else goes into the bucket will be used for flood relief. So thank you, the two of you. Jason gave us a first-hand view of what it's like to lose your home and everything in it. And Jason was one of the people who was a recipient of money that came in from other Rotary clubs around the country to our club. Jason benefited from that, so he understands the importance of paying it forward. All right, I've got a little piece of history that I want to introduce you to. As many of you know, and some of you were here at the time, this was an all-men's club a number of years ago. And then someone on the board, I guess, or the board together, had the wisdom to decide that women should be members of our club as well. And I want to introduce you to one of the first women to go through that experience and let her tell you a little bit about the excitement of being the first woman member of the Columbia Rotary Club. Jane James.
Thank you, President John. It really wasn't that exciting at the time. It was terrifying. I joined the Rotary, I was invited to join the Rotary Club in 1988. But let me give you a little history and create a little context for what was going on at that time. In 1978, 10 years before this club admitted women, the Rotary Club of Duarte, California admitted 3 women. The Rotary International Board withdrew their charter for violation of the Rotary Constitution, which stated in part, quote, "A Rotary Club shall be comprised of men," end quote. Interestingly, the Duarte Club regrouped and renamed itself the ex-Rotary Club. And the ex-Rotary Club of Duarte brought suit against Rotary International, claiming a violation of a state civil rights law that prevented discrimination of any form in business establishments or government or public accommodations. Lawsuits, appeals, counter-appeals followed until in 1987, the U.S. Supreme Court upheld a California court's decision that Rotary clubs do have a business purpose and are in some ways public organizations. And in 1987, another Rotary Club in California inducted 3 women. In spite of threats to quit Rotary by some of the older male members, none did. Sadly, that was not the case in our club. I do not know the exact number, but several men, many of whom had been social friends of ours, resigned from the club when that first group of women became members. I was used to being the first woman in some situations. In 1984, I had become the first woman vice president of the University of South Carolina. Although that was daunting, it was nothing compared to the national and local attention surrounding women in Rotary. I had not lobbied or campaigned to become a member of Rotary. I had really not given it that much thought. In fact, I remember wondering, do I really want to do this? I was really nervous during the induction ceremony. I was trying to smile as I stepped forward when my name was called, but I felt myself shaking as my sponsor pinned the Rotary pin on the lapel of my suit. I wondered if we would, as a group, be booed, or if we would, worse, be inducted, but ignored or isolated. Except for the men who resigned, my fears were unfounded. I was warmly welcomed, as were the other women. The friendships I have made through Rotary are strong and lasting. And as you know, a number of women have been presidents of this club. We have a woman, past district governor, who is a member of this club. And our president-elect is a woman. Although I am officially one of the old guys now, I have thoroughly enjoyed being a Rotarian, and I hope I have contributed a small way to our community through the opportunities for service that Rotary provides. Thank you, President John.
That gave me goosebumps. How about you guys? While we're talking about that, this came to my mind when Dot Owens died recently, and I knew she was in that first group of members, lady members. I think there were 5 in that group. I think our Dot Ryle was in that first group. Is that right, Dot? Dot, and is there anybody else here today?
Like 5 or 6 of us that were the first females in this club. And since I hadn't had my fireside chat, I didn't know all those rules. And so I sat, walked over to the table and said, could I sit here? And General Singh, I didn't know it was what they call the Dunbar Club. And so General says, obviously, I didn't know I was supposed to have an invitation. So I sat down and I said, I heard this myself to him. And he said, well, there are a lot of changes in our club, some good and some not so good. And I said, well, I guess Mr. Reynolds, maybe I'm one that's not so good. He said, well, we're going to find out.
Souls to be in that first group of ladies, I think, and there were some of our members who left shortly after that decision was made. But anyway, thank you too for being pioneers, and look how many wonderful women members we have now. You started something great. We are going to learn something today about the Jefferson Foundation. I don't think many of us know a lot about it. I've talked to a lot of you. You've asked me, what is it? What are we going to hear today? And I am pleased to say one more time, you're going to get to learn something at Rotary. Beth Arick will introduce our speaker today.
Thank you, President John. And I'm glad to have the opportunity to introduce our speaker today. Her name is Heather Love. Heather is the South Carolina State Director of the Jefferson Awards Foundation. And I, like John, know a little bit about the foundation, but not enough, and so I'm really excited to have her here today to share with our club. A little bit about Heather herself. She grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, and attended the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. After graduating with a degree in business administration, she moved to the Washington, D.C. area and worked in the business sector for a few years. In 2005, Heather joined the Peace Corps and was assigned to serve as an economic development agent in a small Caribbean community off the coast of Panama. That was fun. She lived and worked in Panama for almost 3 years and eventually became the director of the Peace Corps, Panama's HIV/AIDS and reproductive health education program. After returning to the United States, she moved to Columbia, South Carolina to take a position with a nonprofit called City Year. where among the things she managed in the Midlands was the Reading Consortium, a project of the United Way. That connection to the United Way eventually led to a position within the United Way system where she worked in both Pickens and Greenville counties for almost 5 years. She joined the Jefferson Awards Foundation as the state director for South Carolina in late November 2013. Heather is a graduate of Leadership South Carolina as well as the Raleigh Institute's Diversity Leaders Initiative. She was named by Greenville Business Magazine as one of Greenville's best and brightest 35 and under in 2015. She is a commissioner on the South Carolina Commission for National and Community Services and serves on the board of the Phyllis Wheatley Association, a community center that serves underprivileged youth in Greenville since 1919. Heather lives in Greenville with her husband, and they have their first child this past May. So that's about Heather. A little bit about the awards is they were founded in 1972 by Jacqueline Kennedy, U.S. Senator Robert Taft Jr., Samuel Beard. The Jefferson Award is America's highest honor for service and volunteerism. So please help me give Heather Love a warm Columbia Rotary welcome.
Thank you, Beth, for that introduction, and thank you all for having me here today. I am here at the behest of Ann Sinclair, who serves on our board here in South Carolina, as well as Jen Hunsicker, who I did not know was going to be here today, so that's a great treat. And my Achilles heel is that I have a tendency to speed up as I talk whenever I'm giving a presentation. So Ann told me to keep my eye on her, and if I start going crazy, she's going to go like this. So if at any point during my presentation any of y'all start going like this, I'll know I'm getting carried away. But I am a Southerner, so I don't know where it came from. But like I said, that's my thing. So anyway, but you all did hear a little bit about me, and again, I appreciate y'all having me here today. I will do my best to explain what our foundation does. As Beth said, it is the nation's highest honor for service and volunteerism, yet many people have never heard of it before. So South Carolina is one of 13 communities where we have a chapter in a local presence, if you will. So I'll talk about specifically what we do here in South Carolina, but to back up a little bit, just to kind of give you an overview of what the foundation is and how we got started. Let me make sure this works. Earlier. Okay, we'll go from here, thank you. Okay, so yes, the foundation was originally established back in 1972 by Sam Beard, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and former Senator Robert Taft. And again, it was established to serve as the nation's highest honor for service and volunteerism, so something of a Nobel Prize equivalent for public service. So over the past 44 years, a whole host of national public figures have been recognized. Some of those were the ones that you saw on the previous slide. Oprah Winfrey, Peyton Manning, Harry Connick Jr., Sandra Sotomayor, like I said, a whole host of national public figures are recognized annually with the Jefferson Award. But then here locally in South Carolina, we do a number of things. And so I'm going to show you this quick, it's 3 minutes, the highlight reel, just to kind of give you a general overview of the foundation at the national level. Okay. Is it doing something? Okay. Yeah, you may have to click end presentation at the top. Thanks, y'all. There we go.
In 1972, it was the dream of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Senator Robert Taft Jr., and Sam Beard to use celebration to elevate America's change makers and inspire a culture of service in this country.
The Jefferson Awards is unparalleled. There is nothing else like it in the world.
And that's apparently all you need to know. If it won't work, we can just go back to the title one.
In 1972, it was the dream of Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, Senator Robert Taft Jr., and Sam Beard to use celebration to elevate America's change makers and inspire a culture of service in this country.
The Jefferson Awards is unparalleled. There is nothing else like it in the world.
Okay, so anyway, coming up.
Well, the Jefferson Awards is a source of validation, and it's an incredible spotlight that can be shined on causes, organizations, and individuals who might otherwise be overlooked by the broader public.
Over 5 million people living with Alzheimer's and dementia right now. And when you took a moment to recognize me, you said they're important to you. And I'm so glad they are, because we need your help.
And that's what the Jefferson Awards do. They surround other people that are going through their hard times, you know. They give back to their communities, they find programs where they are making a difference.
You are being recognized as part of this national movement and a part of this greater thing happening in the world. And that Okay, let's start again. So this is just a visual to give you guys kind of an overview of the way that we're set up. So had we been able to watch the video, it just gives you a little bit of an overview as to what our organization does. But at that national level, each year there's a big ceremony held in Washington, D.C. where the National Jefferson Awards are given out. And a lot of our local programs funnel up into that big award ceremony where local South Carolinians get the opportunity to be recognized on a national stage as part of that award, as part of that big ceremony. So if you click one over, that's that. That's what happens at the national level. And if you click again, what I'm going to talk to you about today are 3 programs, so 2 more times. I'm going to talk to you about our Media Partner Program, Students in Action, and the Lead 360 Challenge. So we have 5 different pieces that we do at the local level, but 3 of those are what I really wanted to focus on today. So if we go ahead and forward. Media Partners is the first thing that I'm going to talk to you about. So our media partner in the Midlands rather, is Watch Fox. So if you go on to the next one. So Watch is a new partner of ours, and just to back up a little bit, our media partner program is one of the oldest things that we've been doing. It started back in 1978. And today we have about 80 markets that are represented with a Jefferson Awards station or a Jefferson Awards presence. So our media partners are TV stations, radio stations, and newspapers across the country that use a Jefferson Award as a way to recognize outstanding service in the local community. And so typically the way that they do this, and you can see it on the screen here, is they accept nominations nowadays through their website. They then select somebody to recognize on a monthly basis. And then from that slate of 12 individuals that they have on an annual basis, they choose one as their overall nominee to send from that market to our national ceremony. So from those 80-odd markets around the country that are represented, each of those markets sends a nominee, and then 5 are recognized with the Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis Award for Outstanding Service to the Community in DC. So again, Watch is our brand new partner here in the Midlands, so they have not yet started this, but that's what I wanted to tell you guys today, is that you can visit our website, but eventually you'll be able to go straight to the Watch website in order to do this. But for the time being, on our website, there's a spot where you can go online and nominate anyone you know for a Jefferson Award for the chance for them to be recognized on a 1 month on Watch. And once they start with this platform, they'll begin airing promo videos that you'll see, and that they will likely highlight a winner each month during the same time slot, on the same day of the week, that kind of thing. So just be on the lookout for this. This is, like I said, kind of an emerging thing here in the Midlands. So if you go on to the next slide and click one more time. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is Students in Action. So this is our flagship youth service program. It's active in 50 high schools across South Carolina, and we have 13 chapters of this program going on nationwide. South Carolina, with 50 high schools represented, has the largest chapter in the country. And just so you guys know, most of the other chapters are in places like San Francisco or Chicago or New York or Orlando. So we're a little unique down here, yet the program has grown leaps and bounds over the past 3 years in South Carolina. It's intended, like it says there, to be a system of service inside a high school. And it is high school specific. But the way that it works is that it is not intended to be yet another service club. So we know that there are already things like Student Government or National Honor Society or Future Business Leaders of America. I mean, there are 1,000,001 high school clubs at this point, and each of those likely has a service component. And additionally, a lot of sports teams, like football teams and basketball teams and things like that, they oftentimes take on service projects as part of what they do as well. So what Students in Action is all about is really our effort to use this idea of elevating the profile of service and volunteerism inside a high school in an effort to unify the student body, to help students who haven't necessarily yet found their niche. So let's say they may not be the valedictorian, they may not be the captain of the football team. Where can a student like that, who has a lot of potential but hasn't yet found their spot, hasn't yet identified where they fit in inside their school community, helping that young person link up to service and volunteerism and issues and things that that person may feel passionate about. And then using a group of student leaders to drive this whole system. So our goal is not to put this on teachers or on administration. It's really to put the onus of this program on students themselves so that they learn leadership and life skills through the process, and then have an exponential effect inside their high school by creating and developing this stronger system of service, unifying all the service efforts that are going on, and like I said, helping students that might not yet have found their service passion link up to something that they care about. So you see on the slide there, Eau Claire High School is one of the participating schools in the Midlands that has a Students in Action team, and Central Carolina Community Foundation actually uses our program as a way to select the Best of Philanthropy Awards for high school students in Columbia. And so Eau Claire High was the 2015, last year's Best of Philanthropy winner, so that's a photo of them there winning that award. And then if you go on to the next slide there. This is a list of the schools that participate in the Midlands. So we have schools in Richland 1, Lexington Richland 5, Lexington 4 with Swansea High, and then in a couple of, in Manning, in Orangeburg, and then we are likely to have schools in Lexington 1 join us this year. And I have a fantastic video that I would like to show you of Greenville Tech Charter High School. So the way that this program works, in addition to doing all those things that I mentioned earlier, we also have a competitive element to this so that the students have an opportunity to win a Jefferson Award of their own. And it takes place at the regional level, at the state level, and then at the national level. So 2 years ago, Spring Hill High School in Chapin won the regional Most Outstanding Award for a Students in Action team in the Midlands, and then went on to win the state award as well. And that was 2014. In 2015, the regional school from the upstate was Greenville Tech Charter High. They won the award for Most Outstanding. They then went on to win the state award, and then they actually won a national award. So they have it's a fantastic video. I don't know if we want to give it a try. All right, let's just move on. So, but that's kind of an overview of what the Students in Action program. So the last thing I'll let you know about today is the Lead 360 Challenge, and then you go on to the next slide here. So this program is basically, like it says there, we have young people that submit service project ideas to us from throughout the country. And this takes place year-round. And then we have a voting process by which anyone can go online, vote for the projects that they think are the most impactful. And then from the 3 projects nationwide that get the most votes are then selected for what we call in our world activation. So that's local implementation of these 3 project ideas by 3 young people from somewhere in the country. So if you went to our website today and went to the Lead 360 page, you would see 3 projects listed there. And those projects are things that anybody, anywhere can implement. So if you go back to the previous slide, you can see last year we had some great success with this in the Midlands. Adventure, United Way of the Midlands, the Richland Library, they all helped out with projects. Irmo Middle School took on a project. This is the South Carolina Department of Insurance. They did a Dreamboxes activation. So Dreamboxes was one of our Lead 360 projects last year. So they took this on and took this lovely photo here and shared it with us. But so this is just an example. So essentially what this is all about, it's intended to be an easy way for anybody, anywhere to get involved in volunteering. So if, for example, you left here today and you thought, I'm going to go online and check out this website, and that one of the projects that's listed on our website really speaks to you, you could take on one of these projects at work, within your church, inside your Rotary Club, at your child's school, anywhere. Any group is eligible to take on one of these projects, and it's basically our way of giving entree to any group that is interested in doing a service project and wants to be part of a national movement in doing it. So the 3 projects that are listed on our website this year have to do with veterans, victims of domestic violence, and hunger. So if those 3 issue areas are areas that anyone is interested in trying to make a difference in, we have projects that are very easily, they're step-by-step outlined on our website that you can select and then, like I said, activate or implement locally wherever you are. So that's what Lead 360 is all about. So, and that's it. This is just a recap here. So basically, if you're leaving here and thinking, this sounds great, how is it that I could get involved? There's one of 3 ways that you can do so. First of all is to nominate somebody you know, so a local hero. That can be a person of any age. At our national ceremony 2 years ago, I heard the speeches by each of the individuals that were sent by their media partner from around the country. And the youngest person we had in the room was 9 years old, and the oldest person we had in the room was 89 years old. The 89-year-old had started a playground in his community in Mississippi, and he had never gotten on a plane before prior to having come to the Jefferson Awards ceremony in DC. The 9-year-old's cousin, I think she was from Oregon, her cousin had passed away in the shootings in Newtown, Connecticut, and she, with the help of her family, had started a foundation in his honor. So the stories that come out of our media partners are absolutely amazing. So if you know of anyone of any age that you think would be worthy of winning a Jefferson Award through Watch Fox, then you can go online to our website at this time and nominate that person. We're also always looking for sponsors for our Students in Action program. The program has 4 different components. We offer, in addition to the service and volunteerism that the students do at school, we also offer leadership training and conferences for them. There's that competitive element that I was telling you about, where the students they give a presentation at the end of the school year in front of all their peers that participate in this program. And it's very moving. It's a fantastic program, and it really does help. It warms your heart. I mean, it really gives you hope for what our future generation of leaders looks like. So that's Students in Action. And then with Lead 360, like I said, if anyone is interested in volunteering and is looking for an easy project, check out our website, and there are projects listed there that anybody can do anywhere to get involved. And what we try and do is use that as a mechanism for capturing the collective impact of those projects throughout the country. So after you do your project, you can go back to our website and log your impact, tell us what you did, and there's a little United Way style thermometer on there that goes up as the number of projects and the number of items donated and collected and packaged and things like that increases. So that's it. This is my information here, and it is 1:25. So I'll take any questions, and I also have business cards with me. So
I have a question. You talked about the 3 things you could tune into. Is that strictly like for this year, or is so you've got to be oriented toward veterans? What one of the 3?
So you mean for if you wanted to actually do a project?
Right. It's those 3. Those are the 3. And I just have a question about that. Are arts ever part of this?
Yes. So basically, during the first part of what the Lead 360 program is about, young people, anyone age 25 and under, can go online and submit their project idea to our website in any category. So the arts is definitely on there. I think it's broken down into 12 different categories that any young person can submit an idea into. And then from all of the entries that we receive nationwide, 3 are chosen overall. And it just so happens that this year, the 3 most outstanding project submissions that we got were veterans, hunger, and domestic violence. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do you have a list on your website of all the schools in the state that participated, students in that?
Yes, I have. The website may or may not have been updated yet, but I do have that list, and I have it in our annual report. So it will eventually go on the website, so you can see where all the schools are. But short answer to your question is yes, we do have a list of all 50 of those. So, and we'll make sure we get it on the website soon. Any other questions I can answer? Thank you guys for having
me. Heather, thank you for informing us about something most of us didn't know about before your presence here. And thank you very much for enlightening us. A small gift for you. All right, next week, T.R. Parrish will be our speaker. T.R. Parrish is a retired Delta Airlines pilot. He's a Lexington Rotarian, and he was here for a meeting one day and told us that he has a talk that he does about commercial aviation, and it sounded pretty interesting, and we understand that he's done a great job where he's spoken before. And I think for those of us who fly a good bit, it might be good to know some of the inside secrets about commercial aviation. I'm not sure he'll tell us everything he knows, but I think it could be a very interesting talk. So I hope you will be here, and I hope you will bring guests for next week for T.R. Parrish. I want to tell you one other quick thing. I have a couple of minutes. I just attended a Rotary seminar in Charleston. Seems like they always have them a long way from here, on Friday. And our club was awarded a star for being the #1 club in our district, 80 clubs in District 7770, for number of new members joining our club. So our club had more new members. And that is a big deal, because generally membership in Rotary is flat or declining. So it's a big deal when your club is growing, and it says something about our club that we can attract new folks to join it. So thank all of you for your help in that. I will tell you, I saw him a minute ago, Mason Hardy has introduced 2 new member prospects to our club, and hopefully we'll have an induction for them shortly. But thank all of you for bringing folks as guests, and it's important to bring them as guests because we always learn something as we did today. So thank you very much. We will end with a song. Are you ready to lead this effort?